Well, Rube, we got some bad news on Tuesday.
Yeah, bad news Monday and bad news Tuesday.
Yeah.
Week's off to a bad start for Eagles fans.
It certainly is. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Got a little bit of sleep on Monday night, so we're back here for a normal Tuesday pod. We're going to break down the loss a little bit deeper to Washington, and we'll kind of get into what it means for the Eagles going forward. The sun still rose kind of on Tuesday. Not really. It's a little cloudy, actually. But yeah. Not the end of the world, a loss, but now there's an injury to worry about. Dallas Goedert is going to miss some time here with a shoulder injury. That's not good.
Yeah, and look, even if they called the face mask, talk about adding insult to injury. I mean,
he's still injured to insult.
I guess, yeah. He still would have gotten hurt. Just a really unfortunate sequence of events. He's playing so well. He's such an answer for Jalen when he's pressured on underneath stuff. Such a weapon with the ball in his hands after the catch. His catch to targets ratio is astronomical. I mean, it's ridiculous. He basically every game he has like 8 catches on 9 targets. I mean, it's crazy. So efficient and such a good player. And we were just messaging about this kind of not ironic, but unusual that his longtime teammate and running mate, Zach Ertz, suffered a serious injury yesterday or Sunday, and Goddard does the next day. It's a position the Eagles have not a whole lot of firepower without him. We'll see more Grant Calcaterra, who has 1 catch for 40 yards. I'm guessing his average is going to come down. They throw to Jack Stoll once or twice a game, and he catches it for the most part. He's a really good blocker, but, man, that's a huge loss. Maybe we'll see Tyree Jackson. Richard Rodgers is always a phone call away.
No, he's not. He's on a 53.
Is he on a 53, really?
He's on the Chargers 53, yeah.
I'm sure Howie could trade for him. Trade him for down to the Chargers. I did not know that. But yeah, it's a big loss. And, on top of, we don't know how bad A.J. Brown is hurt, but I mean, he talked after the game about his ankle. You're talking about Jalen's 2 favorite targets right there.
And Devontae hurt his hand in the game too.
Devontae got banged up. So their top healthy skill guy might be Tyree Jackson right now. I don't know. But, the tight end is so important in this offense and so important to Jalen. So I'm curious to see Calcaterra. I think he's actually blocked better than I expected when he's been in there. He's held his own. And we know he can catch. That's never been the question with him. It's kind of the opposite with Stoll. We know he can block. That's never been the question with him. So they'll try to cobble it together with all those guys and see what happens. But, man, any way you look at it, it's a huge loss.
Yeah, and we don't know if he's going on IR yet. I think the team is still trying to figure that out. He's such an important piece to this offense that if there's a chance he could be back after 3 games, you use a spot on him and you keep him on the 53 because that's how important he is. But if you're pretty confident he's going to miss at least 4, then obviously you put him on IR and you get that roster spot. But I was thinking about this. If you were to list the players in order of the ones you just can't afford to lose, he is right up there at the top of the list. I mean, you can argue Lane Johnson. Obviously, the quarterback is a different animal, but Lane Johnson way up there. I think Kelsey is still up there, even though you probably have a better plan B in this season than he did.
I'll tell you what, there's a bigger drop-off from Goddard to the number 2 tight end than from Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew.
You're probably right.
Not saying they can afford to lose, more than Goddard, but it's a position where, I mean, Calcaterra has 1 career catch. Jack Stoll has like 8.
Yeah.
Tyree Jackson has 3. I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, there's not much experience there. They have Noah Tangiai on the practice squad, so maybe in a pinch they can elevate him if they need. It's not ideal. it just isn't ideal. And Goedert is such a key to this offense. We talked about, Jack Stoll being a good blocker. He's nowhere near the blocker Dallas Goedert is. So it's like, even if you take away the pass catching, which you don't do because he's an elite pass catcher, he's still just an excellent blocker, and he means so much to the offense. In every phase, he means so much to the offense.
And just from an individual standpoint, this will probably cost him a Pro Bowl. I mean, it cost him a 1,000-yard season that he was on pace for. Look, I know he's not looking at it that way, but it's a shame for him. But yeah, it's a shame for the team.
Yeah, he was playing at such a high level. I mean, it was, he was one of the best tight ends in the league. I probably had him second behind Kelsey, honestly, this year. That's how well he was playing. So to lose that guy, even if it's for 2 games, it's a big deal. You hope it's on the shorter end of this, and it is a shame that it happened on a play that should have been a penalty, and the penalty doesn't take away the injury, but it might have won the game.
Yeah, and I've never been one to complain about the refs. I think things tend to even out. Refs don't care who wins or loses games. They're not on anyone's side. But that was really a particularly egregious miss. I think he got faced.
And the stadium saw it. It was really strange. It was like, I felt like everyone saw it except for the guys whose job it is to see it. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's why they won or lost the game, but
exactly. I don't know how that happens. I mean, they call a face mask there. They got 1st and 10 at midfield and down 2. Look, it's not a slam dunk that they're going to score, but they were going to score. And we say the same thing about Quez, as they were going to score. But also, he doesn't fumble if he doesn't get face masked.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's not going to fumble. He's not a fumbler. So, and
he got violently ripped to the ground, and then the body weight on his shoulders, I'm sure, would cause the injury.
Yeah,
it's really unfortunate. And you give him credit; he came back in the game.
Yeah.
After that, this is an injury that's going to keep him out a few weeks. So he's a tough dude. Give him credit for that.
And the injuries are piling up a little bit. Vontae Maddox is going to miss 3 more games. Jordan Davis is going to miss 2 more games. I miss him a ton. We don't know about A.J. Brown. We got a short week here till the Colts, and A.J. was talking about his ankle after the game. Jordan Mailata's shoulder is not good. And then there's the injuries we don't know. I mean, Kelsey always has 8 things going on that he doesn't tell us about. It's a tricky spot this team is in right now.
And they got by so long this season without really any injuries. I mean, they had Derek Barnett in week 1. After that, I mean, they've been pretty healthy all year until the last few games, and it felt like it was only a matter of time. This is a violent sport. Guys get hurt, and it felt like the Eagles were just due to get some injuries, and now they finally have them.
Yeah, and they're at positions where there's not a ton of depth. So, I mean, I thought they had more depth at D tackle. I've been really disappointed the way the backups have played. Milton wasn't terrible yesterday.
I thought Milton was pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, I thought Milton played pretty well, but Fletcher is really struggling right now, and Tui Pelotu's not giving you much at all. Marvin Wilson played a game and didn't distinguish himself, I guess is a fair way to put it. Tight end and D tackle are, you might feel better about their backup tight ends right now, even though they haven't played. They're when they have played, they've done okay. So they're all big losses. And again, we talk about Jordan Davis is eligible after 2 more games. We don't know he's going to come back in 2 more games. And if he does, what role he'll be in and what kind of shape he's going to be in after this kind of layoff. I mean, there's a lot, and the same with Goedert, the same with Maddox. I mean, they probably missed Maddox the least of all. He's a really good player, but Josiah Scott played well yesterday. So the opponents are getting tougher and the injuries are getting more serious, and it's a tricky spot.
What do you think the plan is at tight end? You just bump Stoll and Calcaterra up, or do you think they kind of carve out individual roles for them? You can't be too transparent. Like it can't be, Stoll's in there to block, Calcaterra's in there to catch. That'll be pretty obvious. But do you think they try to just say, this is our depth chart, we move everyone up? Or do they try to maneuver it in a way that they utilize their strengths?
Well, I think it's good that they throw to Stoll once or twice a game, because at least, I don't know if teams have to play him honest, but I mean, he's catching it when he gets it. And
he's catching it even when he doesn't catch it.
Yeah, that's true too. That was not a catch, but I don't know what choice they have. I'll be curious to see if Tyree Jackson's in the mix.
That's like the one positive thing about the timing of this. His 21-day window ends on Wednesday.
Right. They got to make a decision: either activate him, put him on IR for the year, or cut him. So they have that option. I guess it'll depend on Goedert whether he goes on IR or not. Maybe if they decide it's a 2-week thing, now you have a roster issue if you want to activate Tyree Jackson.
Yeah, I mean they elevated Noah once or twice, so I think they still have at least one elevation.
Yeah, I think he had a drop early in the season. I feel like he had a drop, but it might have been in training camp. I'm not sure at this point, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get a lot of answers Wednesday from Nick. He'll clear everything up for us.
Where would you put on your list of like guys who they really couldn't afford to lose? Where would Goedert be?
Man.
At least looking at offense, it's tough to go side to side.
No, I mean,
I think taking the quarterback aside, I think I'd go right after Lane.
Yeah. Yeah, Lane.
You could argue AJ, but at least you still have Devontae.
Yeah, and wide receiver's different because you have different guys. But yeah, he might be number 2 behind Jalen, maybe number 3 behind Lane.
Miles too would be up there.
What's that?
Miles would be up there, but they've gotten by in games.
Yeah, I mean they won a ton of games last year with Gainwell in Boston. Although Gainwell can't frickin' catch a football to save his life, but that's another issue. They need him to catch that football. And that's the thing with Goedert out. Like everyone else, not just tight ends, but everyone else has to raise their game and make plays. I mean, if you're Kenny Gainwell, you can't drop the football because I mean, if you're throwing to him instead of Goedert on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and he's dropping it, that's killing you.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we'll find out hopefully more on Goedert later in the week and kind of hopefully get a sense of just how long this is going to be. They'll have to make a decision about IR and you're right. It's funny. The Tyree Jackson thing might expedite that decision. Normally they kind of wait until before the game because it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But in this case, if they want to activate Jackson, they might need that roster spot earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think they would have to decide by Wednesday.
Yeah.
You just hope Goedert's going to be back inside that 4 weeks because big loss.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's flip to the other side. We touched on it a little bit. You wanted to talk about the run defense today. Go ahead. You talk about it a little bit because I don't think it was quite as bad as people think it was.
Yeah, I kind of agree after kind of pondering it all. I mean, they averaged 3.1 yards per carry. They just kept pounding it, and I think what really hurt was the 3rd down completions.
Yeah.
So they were getting into like 3rd and 4s, and you feel okay. I mean, it's not maybe ideal, but 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you'll take that.
You got to get off the field.
And Heineken just kept completing passes on 3rd and mid. A lot of them to McLaurin, but I still don't think you can beat this team running the ball. I think what beat this team was the throws he made to wide open guys and the fact that the offense didn't put enough pressure on Washington's offense to have to abandon a run and to, they were very comfortable doing what they were doing, run it on first and second down and then throw it on third down. I mean, it was like the simplest game plan. And as long as
there were a ton of third and shorts, but not that you'll live with giving up conversions on those, but you kind of understand that's going to happen. But when you're in those third and fours, get off the field. Someone make a play.
Yeah.
Slay, make a play. I know you're going against a Pro Bowl receiver, but he was beating him in man.
Yeah. I was shocked just how wide open guys were. And look, Heineke's not an elite quarterback, but if guys wide open, he's going to get him the football. And he did. I thought Scott Turner really called a great game. And I thought that was really their only chance to win the game was to do what they did. And it worked. I don't think they had a run over, 11 yards? Maybe it was our longest run. They ran 49 times for 3.1 yards. Really strange. It was a strange day, a strange game.
It's a really tough way to win a game, and that's kind of by design. I think Gannon.
It only works if the Eagles' offense self-destructs. Really?
Yeah, the game plan is to prevent big plays. The problem was the Eagles also gave up a few chunk plays. If they're getting 3.1 yards a pop on the ground and they don't give up those chunk plays, I think that you're pretty pleased with the defensive effort.
Yeah, and the chunk plays were in the passing game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They were able to keep the ball on the ground, eat up clock, and then make big plays through the air when they needed to. Now, my concern about the defense is that I think it was a wise game plan to run against this team because it forces them to keep that five-man front out there because that's really the only way they're stopping the run. That's all Gannon wants to do is stop the run with this five-man front. Then it leaves you a little light on the back end, and it kind of limits what you can do. The concern is when they face these teams coming up that run the ball, well, they're probably going to trot out that odd man front again because it's the only way they've been trying to stop the run. And then we'll see what happens because I don't think against better run teams they're going to limit them to 3.1 yards a pop.
Right. And I mean, gosh, the next handful of games they're facing a really, really good running back every week.
I think you just got to play Javon at the nose if you're going to do it. By the way, he's the best option there. They tried Marvin Wilson last week. They tried Toi Pelotu on Monday, and it seems like the only time they're really stopping the run is when they have Javon out there over the center. And I'd keep doing that.
I think the root of all these issues is Fletch. And I don't want to beat up on Fletch, and he's had a great Eagles career. He's an all-time Eagle, 6 Pro Bowls. But I mean, they were just running right at him. And it was kind of sad to watch. And the back would be down and you'd see Fletch coming in and jumping on the pile late to kind of look like he was in the play. It was just, I don't know, $14 million, Dave.
Yeah, and it's not like this was a move that we all said, oh, good idea, Howie. It was a move we said, well, I don't know. He played better down the stretch in 21, but is he a fringe top 10 defensive tackle? Because that's what you're paying him like.
Yeah.
Don't look like it.
No. And look, Fletch worked really hard this offseason. I mean, he was accountable. He said he didn't like the way he played last year, and he got off to a good start. I mean, he got off to a really hot start, and I'm thinking, wow, he's turning back the clock here. I mean, we talked about it in some of those early podcasts, first few weeks of the season. And you ask what's changed on the defense. I mean, I don't know if he's running. He played too many snaps. I mean, they all played too many snaps. Watching.
They played 83 as a defense.
80 was it 81 or 83? Yeah,
83 in the snap counts.
83. Yeah, it was 81 in the official stats, which is weird. I don't know what the disparities, but it doesn't matter. They played too many snaps, and if Tui Pelotu was more viable, you could give him more snaps. He played too many snaps too. you're not going to get help at this point. You're not going to find anybody on a practice squad or anything who's going to be able to help you. So they got to go with what they have. And I think the only way they have to stop the run right now is getting a big lead. And some teams keep running it. And
we've seen that at times this year. Heck, we saw it in week 1.
Detroit did it. Yeah. A few teams have done it. It's really interesting. You look at the Eagles passing yards allowed. Where is this? And it's crazy. I mean, they don't give up passing. I mean, they get like 6 plays yesterday. They've allowed sometimes I could just never find anything on here. Passing yards. What they allowed? This is offense. I'm an idiot. All right. Passing yards, net passing yards. The last 4 games, 178, 135, 158, 181. Arizona was 239. Jacksonville, 148. Washington, first game, 153. 202, 205. I mean, it's crazy. They don't allow any passing yards. And generally, when you can do that, you're going to win. I mean, they are 8-1. Yeah, it should add up to success. But when you turn the ball over 4 times, all bets are off.
3
and an asterisk.
Yeah. And it's the turnover thing is, we talked about it all week. As much as they drill it, as much as it's on their minds at all times, there's still an inherent luck aspect to takeaway margin and turnovers. Because, you think about the Jalen
I don't know if
Hurts.
it's luck as much as unpredictability.
Okay, that's a little semantics, but I'm saying it's not all under your control.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, I mean, the turnovers yesterday were pretty much under their control. Maybe not the Goedert one.
I mean, the Jalen Hurts one, I get what you're saying, that it's, he's thrown in a double coverage. It's a risky play, but it was kind of a fluky way it got picked off. It went through the defender's hands, off A.J. Brown's hands, into the defender's hands.
Yeah. A.J. Brown doesn't usually do that. I mean, he even talks about how if I'm not catching it, no one's catching it.
It was just it was a weird play. That was I don't even know if I can blame him. It goes through the defender's hands and it hits it. I mean, that's a weird play. Yeah. And that's kind of the point, is if you're throwing a deep ball there, yes, there's a chance it gets picked off, and the Eagles have, whether it's luck or having a guy like A.J. Brown be able to fight it off, those passes haven't been picked off. We saw a couple games ago, it's a very similar play. Jalen throws it up to A.J., he makes a play, gets a touchdown. At some point, things weren't going to go your way.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a regression to the mean.
Yeah,
I agree with that. They held it off for quite a while.
Yeah. What are your other biggest concerns about this team after that loss? And by the way, the sky is not falling.
No.
They're 8-1.
No, the sky is intact. This just in. Schefter's reporting the sky is intact, according to sources. The sky's agent. Special teams continues to be. Look, Britton Covey, he's a great kid. I think everyone roots for him. It's just not happening. And
I don't think it's all on him either, though.
I don't either. I don't think it's all on him, but I don't think he's seen the field real well. I don't think there's giant holes there.
I'm thinking about, he really had one punt return on Monday. He picked up 5 yards. I don't know if there are 5 yards there. So it's
that's fair. But
I mean, the kick returns are, I don't have much faith in him getting to the 25 when he's forced to return it. But then again, I also don't think there are lanes.
Yeah. It's tough to tell, but I feel like he's quick, but he's not elusive. Obviously, he's not breaking any tackles. But it's not just him, and field position has been a problem, but it's every week on special teams, it's something else. I'd like to see Devin Allen get a shot, even just as a gunner, just to add some juice to that unit, some speed, some explosiveness.
I think their gunners are pretty good.
Yeah, but just, you know what? Find a spot for him then. Just get some speed out there. I don't know. He's never returned punts, I guess, but
yeah, you make him a kick returner, but you're probably not elevating a guy just to.
You're not going to elevate a guy just to return kicks. Yeah, you can run a go route. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, but special teams has been such a bleep show. Every week they do something to hurt the team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know if Devin Allen is the answer.
I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. I don't know either.
I think it's funny. I think their gunners are like the one thing they have going for them on special teams, because you have Zach McPherson, who's made some really big plays, and Andre Sachare is pretty good now that he's on the 53.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I know that I thought Michael Clay should have been replaced after last year. Special teams wasn't good last year. And, we've had some pretty good special teams coaches here, and he's not one of them. I just call it like, I don't think they're prepared. They've been faked out twice on fake punts, one on the other team's own 28-yard line on a 4th and 4. I don't know. I think special teams, I think it's partly personnel, I think it's partly scheme, but it's just been a bleep show all year.
Yeah, it has. And
the punter might be the best thing going on special teams. Zach McPherson's been really, really good. But yeah,
the punter actually had a good day.
Yeah, he did. Actually, his first cold weather game.
Had to qualify that a little bit.
Hey, let me backtrack a second, because I'm going to go off script here, but I think I know what you're going to say. But is there a role on this defense for Nakobe?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if so, here's my thought on that. Right now, Gannon's only idea to stop the run is to play that bear front, and it's without Jordan Davis. It's I don't know if the reward is worth it. The problem is you go to your 4-man front, you're probably getting gashed a lot. We saw that last season, right? They would throw that 4-man front out there. They get gashed in the run. And they kind of live in their sub packages. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe there isn't a role for Nakobe to help try to stop the run. And at least I know he's not a big guy, but have a linebacker be willing to shoot the gap and come up and make a play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not his strength. But he'll give full effort and be in position. And
I'd like to see a little more aggressiveness from TJ.
Yeah.
He should be that guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's been awful, but I'm more down.
I think he's had up and down years.
I'm down on Kezier right now. I know you're not.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too.
I just haven't seen the playmaking out of him.
So you're saying maybe just get Nakobe some Will snaps?
Yeah. Yeah, just see if it helps. Can't hurt. Just get some juice in there. Look, there's not a lot you can do right now. And the team's 8-1, and I'm not saying wholesale changes are needed, but sometimes a little change can get things juiced.
Yeah. Any other concerns we have to hit?
Yeah, I mean, for me, pass pressure from the edge guys. I mean, Hargrave's been their best pass rusher for a while now. Mm-hmm. Started off great this year. It's kind of hit a wall. I think Reddick might have gotten a sack on the BG late hit, personal foul. You want to count that, you can count it, but I'm not.
I like that you're counting that fourth turnover, or you're not counting the Reddick second.
Right. No, I mean, technically it's a sack, but as far as generating pressure, I mean, I thought Heineke, was just, it's one of the reasons guys were open. I mean, he was just back there. He was pressured at times, but for the most part.
Yeah. I think this is where we go to that thing where it's all tied together, because they were in so many, like third and manageable was a real thing in this game. I think on their 12 conversions, the average to gain was right around 3 yards. So there were a lot of really third and manageables. And this defense is predicated on getting into those third and medium, third and long, let your pass rushers get after it. And when you're not in those situations, we see what happens. They're kind of, they're held at bay because they don't have those pure pass rush situations. When they had them, we saw that Josh Sweat sack. We saw the third down where Javon got the big sack was that fourth quarter? Yeah. So when they got into those like clear pass situations, they were okay. They had trouble getting to them.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not just yesterday, I think. And again, Sweat got hurt early.
I think they dodged a bullet there. I was nervous about that because he was kind of holding the leg that's the leg for him.
Right.
And yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at the Pro Football Focus grades this afternoon?
No.
Robert Quinn was at the bottom of the list. Josiah Scott was at the top of the list on defense. He's pretty solid, but Quinn's giving him nothing, Dave. And it's been 3 weeks. It's we got to see something soon.
Yeah, at that position, there shouldn't be a super long transition period.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of it is there's your tackle, study him during the week, beat him on Sunday. Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, look, I was BSing with him the other day at his locker, and he was just talking about how hard it is changing teams in the middle of the year, and nobody understands what you go through. You got to find a new bank, and you got to find a place to live, and he said it's I don't know if the adjustments may be getting to him. Maybe it's something at this point in his career he's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deeply in it, but he's a guy who had 18 and a half sacks last year.
Yeah, I picked up on what you're saying too, talking to him, but I don't know him well enough.
Yeah.
To read into this personality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, because I talked to him when he first got here, and it felt like he was like overwhelmed and like kind of out of it, but I don't know him well enough to say that's out of the norm for him.
That's a fair point. I got a sense of, I never got a sense of I'm really excited to be here, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand. Look, it's at this point in your career, the last thing you want to do is get traded in the middle of the season. But they need something.
To a team that was undefeated.
Yeah, they need something from him, and I just don't see it. I mean, he's not getting any pressure.
No.
Yeah. So.
And I thought he would help.
I did too.
I watched him in Chicago, and I thought there's still something there. Hasn't translated yet.
4th round pick. It's it's
not nothing.
That's a pretty significant.
Or rental too. I mean, this is not like everyone made fun of the Gennard Avery trade a few years ago, and obviously that wasn't a good one. But you got 2.5 years of him at least.
Yeah, get more out of Golden Tate than Robert Quinn.
Oof.
Caught that game-winning touchdown in a playoff game.
Yeah, he didn't know the play.
Got it done though. Yeah, so that's a healthy number of concerns for a team that's 8-1. But look, there's a lot to like about this team too. They're a good team. We'll get into that a little more. You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. Right there, goosebumps on top of goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heartbeat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Opioid addiction is a national public health crisis. The Someone You Know podcast from Independence Blue Cross Foundation offers inspiring stories that challenge stigma, offer hope, and humanize the disease of addiction. Download the new season 3 of Someone You Know on all major podcast platforms. Reuben, you know what's funny? I was in the locker room on Monday night, and it came to me that it was the first time I had been in the Eagles locker room after a loss since the Seattle game.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah. So part of me was, and I thought about that right before I went in there. And with that in my mind, I was like, I wonder what it's going to be like. I wonder what the vibe in this locker room is going to be like. Is it going to be a morgue? Is it going to be, or is everyone going to be hanging their heads? And no, I was pleasantly surprised by the reaction to that loss. I think it's a good thing. There were, just about every player I talked to was like, yeah, I mean, we lost this game. We did it to ourselves, but the sky was not falling in that locker room. And I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that comes from Jalen and his leadership and guidance that he provides. And he's so even keel and level-headed as a young guy, 24 years old. His messaging gets through when they win, and it certainly gets through when they lose. He's a very wise guy when it comes to kind of setting the message for the week and leading his teammates to how they should be thinking and how they should be processing a loss or a win. I think that's really huge. Even the guys on defense, you don't see that a lot where they respect the quarterback that much. I guess you do see it sometimes, but yeah, I just was watching as many of the videos as I could, and they were accountable and they understand that everything that was within their reach before the loss is still there, still within their reach. Mm-hmm. They still have the best chance to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. They just lost some of their margin for error. Uncharacteristic things, and they know that they had a lot of opportunities and they let them slip through their fingers. And I know people were asking me, is some of the pressure off because they have a loss now? Like, it doesn't work that way. I don't think players look at it that way.
Oh, AJ Brown might have been.
He did make that reference to that 17-0 stuff, which nobody's really written that or talked about.
It's pretty early for that. Like, once you get to week 12, 13, 14,
Yeah. Yeah, but for the most part, I mean, I think it's a really mature group that way, and I think they realize that they brought this on themselves. I think it was as much. Look, Washington did some really good things, and they played hard. I thought they kind of really took it to the Eagles as far as intensity and physicality, and I thought they it's a cliche. I thought they wanted it more, but the Eagles still lost this game more than Washington won it, I felt.
And I think in a way that's less demoralizing.
I think so.
Because, if you lose the game and you just get beat by a team that's better than you, I think that's harder to swallow. Just accepting that, no, we're just not good enough to beat this team. And that clearly wasn't the case in this one. It was, no, we should have won this football game. Here are the reasons why we didn't win this game. And here are the things it was very cut and dry after that loss. And I think that makes it easier to get past it and easier to kind of fix those things too, at least in theory.
No, I agree with that. And I think I don't think any player on that team left the locker room thinking they're better than us. I mean, they were better for 3 hours, but they played like as bad as you could possibly play for good stretches of that game, and they still would have had the ball at the 15, down 5 with 5.5 minutes left.
And there were a lot of those plays that, if this happens, they probably win. If this happens, they probably
win. But that was the most 15, first and 10 on the 15 with momentum.
Mhm.
And, the defense had kind of figured, I mean, the defense only allowed 2 field goals, I think, in the second half. So they'd kind of, and also, I mean, Washington, I think, also felt like we have enough points. Like they just kind of stopped doing anything. But the Eagles the Eagles were making some plays. They were moving the ball. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
I felt like we got robbed of a signature Jalen Hurts game-winning drive.
Yeah, it just felt like it was about to happen.
Twice.
Yeah.
It felt, obviously the Quez fumble, they were really driving then, and then we didn't even get to see him at the end of the game because of the BG penalty. But, I mean, that would have been interesting. That would have been, a minute and a half, one timeout?
Yeah.
One timeout or no timeouts? Either way, you would have had some time to move.
Any timeouts at that point.
You would have had some time because I think they didn't use it because it was a penalty, and then it was a dead ball. But you still had time, and it was a shame. I wanted to see that moment for him and from him. It would have been a signature moment if he's able to bring his team back and win that game.
Yeah. And I like what I saw from him down the stretch. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch for him.
In the beginning, not a lot of plays. I didn't think the turnover on him was egregious. And then, everything is different if Quez doesn't fumble that ball.
Yeah. If he scores, we're
saying about what a gutty performance from Jalen. They overcome all this crap that went wrong. He leads them to a win. It's funny how one little thing changes the discourse for an entire week.
Yeah. I had all my 10 observations done as if they won, because I had to. I had about 8 of them. They're pretty good. No one will ever read them, though.
You should keep all those and then publish them. Publish them.
I don't think anyone wants to read them.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I do keep them.
Okay.
I'm always afraid I'll send the wrong copy.
You want to take a quick look at the state of the NFC East, state of the NFC?
Yeah.
Eagles are still at the top. 8-1 record, same as the Vikings, who are also 8-1, but we know the Eagles have the head-to-head tiebreaker there. This NFC East is tight. Giants won again. They're 7-2. Dallas lost. That gives you a little breathing room, I think, from the second best team in the division. So they're 6-3, and even Washington now at 5-5. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the division is 26-11, but 5 of those games are within the division, so they're 21-6 outside the division. That's crazy.
Didn't see that coming this year.
No. And yeah, I thought Dallas would be good. I thought the Giants were going to be a dumpster fire. I thought Washington was going to be worse. Some good coaching going on. I think Ron, and I've said this before, I think Ron Rivera is the perfect guy for a franchise that's in chaos because he's just so down the middle, in control, under control, and calming and soothing. He's always been that way when he was here. As linebackers coach under Big Red and Brian Daboll, the difference he's made up there is incredible.
I've been so impressed by the Giants coaching staff. Right now, Daboll's, as well as Sirianni's, performed this year. Daboll's coach of the year to me.
You make that case, no doubt. And they work together. Daboll and Nick. It's kind of weird that the Eagles and Giants don't play till so late.
It is weird.
But yeah, Daboll, they're getting the most out of Daniel Jones. He's putting him in position where he can be really efficient and mistake-free, and he's taking advantage of it.
In front of me, Rube, I have the after Week 10, the NFC playoff picture. Want to just go through it real quick?
Sure.
Obviously, the Eagles are still in first, Vikings in second. We've already seen them, but I think they're probably a better team right now than when the Eagles saw them. In 3, you had the Seahawks at 6-4. I don't think I've ever seen a team get more out of a rookie class than Seattle is. So, that's good for them, and it bodes well for their future. Not sure how dangerous they're going to be in the playoffs because of that.
Yeah, and they have a reclamation project playing quarterback who's a great story.
Playing really well. I keep hearing people tell me he should be the comeback player of the year. What did he come back from? Just not being good?
That's pretty much what that award is, right?
No, it's for guys who come back from injuries.
I don't think so. I like it for guys who make a big jump from sucking to being really good.
That's most improved. That's not comeback. You can't come back to a place you never were.
I would vote for Geno Smith for comeback player.
Crazy.
Sorry. I see what you're saying, but
here we go. This is good stuff from our producer, Ben. The official definition of comeback player of the year is given to the player who shows perseverance in overcoming adversity in the form of not being in the NFL the previous year, overcoming a severe injury, or simply a poor performance.
So it could be either one,
I guess.
Yeah. Who would you vote for? It's early, but who do you have in mind?
I don't know.
Like Saquon?
Saquon would be a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, maybe Saquon.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So you have Seahawks in third at 6-4. The Buccaneers right now at 5-5. Someone's got to win the NFC South. And do they concern you at all? We talked about them a few weeks ago. I was looking at them. I'll tell you what. I don't want to see Tom in the playoffs. If I'm any team, I just don't want to see it.
I'm with you on that. And, I watched that Germany game. And
he's not like he's playing well, but don't let him into the dance.
I'm with you. They're pretty good right now. They're pretty dangerous right now. And I think, for the Eagles, there's just so much history there, both with Tampa and with Brady. Mm-hmm. And with both of them in one game, but, separately in other games. Yeah, I'd want to avoid them at all costs.
And then at 5-6, you have the Giants and Cowboys. So if the season ended right now, the NFC East would have 3 teams in the playoffs, which is crazy. And then in that 7th seed, the 7th and final seed, 49ers, second in the NFC West. They're 5-4. Say what you want about Jimmy G. They seem to win with him. That defense is legit still. Christian McCaffrey looks like that 49ers team could get hot.
Yeah, D'Amico's done a great job with that defense, and it's a fun team to watch. They got some interesting weapons on both sides of the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo could be your comeback player of the year. He wasn't even their quarterback in the opener. Trey Lance seems like so long ago, but they're dangerous. They're dangerous. And it's a little scary how close the Eagles are to being like a 5 seed. It's like,
in a way that, not that that's good, but there's going to be a sense of urgency this whole season because of how tight things are.
Yeah.
In your own division.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still play the Giants twice. So, the Giants are looking at this like, yeah, we're right there. And we play this team, the team that's ahead of us twice and down the stretch. They have a chance to take care of business. And that's the way they're looking at it. We can beat the Eagles twice, win this division, and get the number 1 seed. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but that's the way they have to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I wish one of those games was earlier. Kind of like to see them, but now I think Dallas plays the Giants. Is that game? I think you have your schedule in front of you.
I can pull it up for you.
Let's see. Dallas plays the Vikings Sunday.
Yeah, in Minnesota.
And then plays the Giants.
Yeah.
So if you're an Eagles fan, who are you rooting for in the Minnesota game?
That's a good question.
think you kind of have to root for Dallas, right? You might have to root for Dallas 2 weeks in a row. I mean, who do you think's a bigger threat?
I still think Dallas is a bigger threat than the Giants.
I'm starting to wonder. The Giants play the Lions at home.
No, I still think Dallas is a bigger threat than the Giants.
I'm starting to think the Giants are a bigger threat. I think part of that is that the Eagles already have a win over the Cowboys. So I feel like I think it's going to be really hard, even with the loss yesterday, it's going to be hard for Dallas to get past the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles have 2 games, two wins in hand and a tiebreaker. I mean, obviously they have another game. But the Giants are looking at, like you said, they're looking at like we're 7-2, and I think the Eagles have a conference record tiebreaker over the Giants. Giants have 2 conference losses, but the Giants are looking at like we win both these games, we're number 1 seed.
Yeah. I think the Eagles are clearly a better team.
We'll see. We'll know in a few weeks.
Yeah, when that stupid game gets flexed to the night.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm driving back from MetLife at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I remember those days. Hopefully your car survives the parking lot.
All right, you got anything else?
No. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who watched our pod in the middle of the night last night. It's awesome. You guys are great. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not a lot of sleep for us, so you made it worthwhile. We appreciate that. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye Podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button, subscribe there as well. That's it for today. We'll talk to you later in the week. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan.